I know the video has barely started, but I need to tell you the reasons to come in France in the first place.
Damn! It should still taste good.
Now that you grasped the idea of a perfect country, I'd like to share with you how I actually moved here, how I learned the language from zero, about my school life, student life, work life, and about the reasons I'm moving out of this country as fast as possible. First time I came in France when I was 12 years old, and I liked it. I saw the Eiffel Tower, drank cola. And tried pâté for the first time in my life, and that was absolutely delicious. I didn't spend here more than 3 days. Next time I would visit France, it wouldn't be a visit anymore. I would live here, and that wouldn't be my call. So after the beginning of the war, I found myself here, in Nantes. I remember my first impression, and it was something like,
Damn! I'm in France! I'm gonna live in France!
I felt strange. It was like in a video game, when all the locations and map itself are blurred, and you have no idea what to do. The language they speak is strange, incomprehensible. The surrounding is different. The currency and the prices are different. People are different. I was 17 years old and I felt kinda lost, and that's why I was excited at the same time, because I had no idea what was going to happen. What is the first thing to do when you're immigrating to another country? Obviously, is to learn the language. So I decided to go in the school to learn the French faster. But before that, I decided to travel around France for the entire month, because the trains for the Ukrainians during the first year after the beginning of the war, they were for free. That's why the first association of France right now isn't the Eiffel Tower or baguettes. It is this. The trains in France are so sexy. Anyway, I went to school. The experience in the world, it was awkward, really awkward. Not only I was nervous, but the other kids were nervous as well, because they had never met a Ukrainian kid in their entire life before. And they probably thought that after the war I was traumatized, so they didn't really have a courage to speak to me. And even those of them who had the courage to speak to me, they couldn't do it because they didn't speak French, or English. But actually that was a perfect condition for me to learn French. So I was lucky nobody spoke English at school. So I spent only 1 year at school, and then I had the occasion to pass the exams and to enroll in the university. Obviously the exams were in French, and if you ask me how I managed to learn the language so fast, that's because I was quite active. I was talking to everyone and I was willing to make mistakes. That's actually the first step to learn any language, is to be willing to make mistakes. That's okay. I'm not a native speaker and you're not either. Moreover, if we consider the fact that French make mistakes too, then I think we're equal. Still, the reality of immigration is you feel kinda lonely. I felt out of place. Like I was trying to be like French because I was surrounded only by French and I wanted to make friends. But how can I look like a French if I don't even know their language? I would think like that for the next 2 years, and only after realizing and accepting that I would never be and speak like French, I found my inner peace. And that's my key personality trait, being a Ukrainian immigrant in France. And that's what actually makes people wanna be my friends. Anyway, now I'm in the university, in France. I didn't expect life to turn this way, but I was pretty damn excited. I received a scholarship and the apartment for a reduced tariff. They paid me 650 euros per month, and for the apartment I paid 350 euros. By the way, the reason they gave me scholarship wasn't because of my academic achievements, but because my family didn't have a lot of money. The country cares that you have a possibility to get a diploma, even if you don't have any means. The next 2 years passed really fast. I was studying, working, traveling. Traveling is actually so easy here, especially when you do it off-season. I went to the mountains, sea, ocean. By the way, the ocean is located only 100 kilometers away from Nantes. So from the city center you take the train and just in 1 hour you're lying on the beach and swimming in the cold water. Because the water in the ocean is always cold. And you're simply enjoying the life. Anyway, about the university. I left it because I felt lonely and the studying sucked. So I decided to find a job. And searching for a job in France is a challenge in itself. Why? Because they don't hire you without experience, without a diploma, or when you're too young. And too young, I mean 18-25 years old, because you're not an adult when you're 24 or 23. So the only options which are left are a seasonal work or a grocery store. I had been working in a grocery store for 9 months, so I could save some decent money for something in the future, and as it turned out, the work itself sucked as well. I don't have any videos from work. No, actually, I'm lying to you. I had a few funny moments. That was cool. The money I saved, I decided to spend on a trip to the Southeast Asia, and as it turned out, it was one of the best decisions of my entire life and one of the best trips of my entire life, which I will never forget. By the way, if you're interested in Asia or maybe going, seeing everything with your own eyes, you can watch my best video from there. And probably my best video on this channel, it was from Hong Kong. I really recommend it. So after 3 months of traveling, I returned home because France was my new home by then. I spent here 4 years, and even if I don't see my future in this country, still this place gave me many things and many good memories. I grew up here, so I consider this country as my second home. However, it's time to move on, because the things I want, it can't give me anymore. For me, these 4 years became a lesson. Making peace with myself, accepting the way I am, because I don't want to try being someone else, to become friends with someone. And only when I realized this crucial thing, I started making friends. If it was interesting for you to listen to me, to my story, then bye.